In this video, I'm going to be answering questions you guys sent in. However, before I get started, I want to thank you guys so much for helping me reach 10,000 subscribers. Your support has been fantastic. When I started SchizoKitzo, I had no idea if anyone would listen. But now I know people do, and I'm so grateful for that. So if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, well, my name is Kit, and I bridge the gap between life and science to break the stigma around mental health. And if that's your vibe, then subscribe to be a part of the hive. So without further ado, let's get started on answering your questions. Anis Fakayanaki 7979 asks, how do you deal with the depression and feelings of shame after realizing you had delusions? This is kind of a hard one, because there's always a ton of embarrassment and shame that I feel whenever I'm coming back from being delusional, because part of me is like, oh my god, I can't believe I fell for it again. So really what I do is I rely on my support system to help soothe the wound, since they love me regardless of whether I'm having symptoms or not. So I talk about the shame with those close to me, and that really helps dispel it, even if it's uncomfortable at first. I trust them when they say that things are okay, and that I'm safe, valid, and loved. And that's how I deal with it. Amshans asks, what are the main lifestyle choices you had to implement to improve your quality of life and better manage your symptoms day-to-day life? Ooh, this is a good one. Obviously, I need to say that meds and therapy are, of course, the biggest things that someone who's mentally ill can do. But beyond that, I'd say my number one thing that I've done is actually regulate a sleep schedule. I try to go to bed and wake up at the same times every day if I possibly can help it, and that really has helped the mood side of the condition. I also walk 4 to 5 miles a couple times a week to kind of move my body, and I've noticed that helps a lot too. Engaging in hobbies is really important to me as well, creative ones at that, because it helps express my extremely intense emotions. And finally, I'd say that I keep up a social life so that I'm less likely to isolate when symptoms hit. Those are probably the biggest ones. B. Rillo asks, in your opinion, is it reasonable to hope to never slip into a full-blown psychosis once you start receiving treatment, or should one set smaller goals to be realistic? These are both loaded questions, and honestly, I'd say that for me specifically, recovery is and was possible. But the effects from my episodes, they kind of stick around and linger a bit. Like, I have been able to build a life that is somewhat chill. Like, I have a job and an apartment and all that. But I still have cognitive side effects that resulted from the damage that mania and psychosis did to my brain. So I would say yes, you can absolutely recover. But recovery might not look like what you'd think it'd be, because this is still brain damage I'm talking about. And when it comes to things happening again, well, I take things day by day personally. So far, I've been pretty solid at not having a second psychotic break. But I also know that for me, I do believe it's possible to have another one, just because I've done it once before already. But plenty of people never have another break after treatment. So I'd say that it's technically always a possibility of something that could happen, but there's an even bigger possibility that it won't happen because treatment really is that powerful. MJ Love 6574 asks, your biggest dream/plans for the future? Aw, this is a fun question. I want to go back to Japan sometime in the next few years, as the first time I went, I was super manic, and I'd love to go back with a plan, because I think I'd have even more fun. And I'd love to start doing some in-person advocacy within my community. It's like speaking engagements and stuff. I think that would be really fun, and something I'd like to think I'd be good at. But most of all, I want to keep living and taking life for all it's worth, because it truly is beautiful to be alive. And I only have so many years on this planet, so I gotta make them count. Fisherman 1992 asks, have you ever purposefully induced mania before? I won't say how, but yes. I was very stupid in college. GC Kinsey asks, if you could go back in time, visit your younger self right when you were first developing any symptoms of mental illness, and offer one piece of wisdom from the future, what would it be? And do you think your younger self would believe you? I would actually tell my past self that the friends that she talks to in her head are actually psychotic symptoms, and she's hearing voices and needs to tell that to her doctor, so that hopefully she can get on the right pills, the right meds, the right everything, so that bad things don't happen in the future. And I do actually think past me would believe future me, because right now, me would believe a future version of myself coming to talk to me now. So, yeah. Like, I really feel I would trust a me from the future. Camo222 asks, advice for someone currently experiencing psychosis for the first time, and the tedious process of figuring out the correct diagnosis, as well as finding the right medications. I recently spent 2 weeks in a hospital trying to navigate all of this, and trying to find answers has proved to be a terribly long and exhaustive process. What I want you to know is that it's probably going to take some time to figure out what's right and what's best for you. It took me years to get diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, and it took me years to get the right treatment for it. But the struggle is worth it. Because when you have the right treatment, life becomes this beautiful, wonderful thing that you get to participate in. You get to be present in the world around you. So hang in there, be patient, you got this. Boost B1IP asks, how do you encourage yourself to try again and reestablish faith in yourself when things feel impossible and it feels like nothing will change again? Oh man, I think this one is just the fact that I'm so stubborn. I refuse to be beaten, so like heck, I'm gonna let this illness beat me. It got close once, it's not gonna get close again. But I do have moments where it almost gets to me. And I just end up screaming and screaming and screaming into my big stuffed bee's abdomen and calling a friend and crying a lot and venting and venting and venting. Because I think it's okay to say that things suck and they're horrible. And that I am stuck with this for the rest of my life, and yeah, that's kind of not so great. But I just want to keep going and keep doing amazing and fun things. So I get up and move forward after I've had my 5 minutes of a loud rumination. George Iniesta asks, how do you make/maintain friends, specifically during depressive episodes? How people react after you tell them about your diagnosis and the meds you take? Usually people freak out and just push you away. Honestly, I'm just lucky. Most of my friends are super open-minded. And some of my closest friends I actually met when I was in the midst of one of the worst bipolar episodes I've ever had. And they still wanted to be friends with me. That was all the way back in 2017, and we still talk to this day and play D&D pretty regularly. As for my other friends, well, I kind of was already diagnosed with bipolar disorder when I met them. And they were pretty chill about it. And when I told them my diagnosis had changed to being schizoaffective, well, they were pretty chill with that too. A lot of my friends I've met through hobbies, whether it be cosplay or 18th century historical reenacting. And I do really think that I got lucky with all the people I've got around me these days. Because these people know that my illness is just a part of me and it's not the whole me. And because of this, I have plenty of people to talk to when things get bad. And finally, Soup Deluxe Goo asks, are you following any of the work Chris Palmer is talking about with ketogenic diets for these conditions? Have you tried it? And if you suffer with negative symptoms, are you looking at any of the new medications targeting those as well? Those are 2 questions, but I'm just gonna answer the first one. I have so many thoughts on the ketogenic diet when it comes to mental health conditions, but I can summarize them up in one word: no. For me personally, I don't do diets anymore. And I definitely don't do extreme, restrictive, and dangerous diets like the ketogenic one. So no, I'm not following Chris Palmer's work, and I don't plan to. My treatment is absolutely fantastic and manageable just the way it is, and I get to eat whatever I want. And that's all I'm gonna say on the matter. And that's all the questions for this video. I would love to do more of these, as I found this pretty fun. So if you want more like this, let me know in the comment section down below. But other than that, thanks so much for joining me in making the uncomfortable comfortable yet again. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.